Don't mess with me, pork chop. What day is this?
It's February 2nd. Groundhog Day.
You know, I thought it was yesterday.
Oh.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and it's time for another comic book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Image Comics Department of Truth from writer James Tynion. Without a doubt, one of the hottest writers in the entire comic book industry. Obviously doing big things over with Batman with Joker War. People are very excited about that. Obviously, he's got his comic book over at Boom Studios. Something's Killing the Children. One of the best horror comics in the industry as far as I'm concerned. Illustrations, art by Martin Simmonds, I believe. I was really excited about this comic book. I thought, this one's going to be good. James Tynion's been really hot. Not loving his Batman stuff as much as everyone else, but it's certainly a step up from what Tom King was doing. It feels like he's trying to fix a lot of those issues. But I've been really impressed with his work over on Something is Killing the Children. Very good genre book. This is another kind of sci-fi conspiracy theory kind of comic book. What's real, what's not. Another genre book. I thought, this is right up James Tynion's alley. Although I will say, I'm starting to get in my mind, I prefer him basically just as a horror writer. But this is an okay comic book. I recommend it. It's not a highly recommend. I don't strongly recommend it. It's pretty well executed for what it is. Not the most exciting thing I've read in 2020. Not nearly as exciting as I was actually expecting. Now, before I get into all those details, I do want to say, if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this review. Give me a thumbs down if you don't. Definitely let me know your thoughts on the Department of Truth in the comments section. I imagine I'm going to be getting a lot of pushback. It seems like a lot of people are really enjoying this first issue, and I think that's great. I hope people really enjoy this comic. We don't always have to see eye to eye on these things, and I don't always like what it feels like. The consensus is that this is a really good comic book. I think it's an okay comic book. So getting into it, the art from Martin Simmonds is kind of the first thing that really stands out. And I don't know. It feels like I see this kind of muddy watercolor effect art in a lot of independent comics nowadays. And it feels like I see it executed much better, if I'm being completely honest. Like I think like Jason Sean Alexander's work, obviously on Spawn, that he was working on before. He's no longer the artist there, but he is the artist on Philadelphia, also an Image comic, in a horror comic at that, is much better executed than this particular comic book, as far as I'm concerned, is in this effect that he's working. Now, I understand why they're using it, because essentially you don't know what's happening, what's real, what's not. You're supposed to, I guess, identify with the protagonist, in this case, Cole. I believe his name is Cole. And you're kind of seeing things through his eyes, and nothing, is what it seems. What can you believe? What can't you believe? Obviously, much like, you see this all the time. There's one character, like this lady in the red dress, that stands out. She's been on a lot of the covers and promotional material. She's supposed to be something, she's supposed to look different because she is different from the crowd. She means something different to the narrator, in this case, Cole. Is it good art? Yeah, it's fine. I just don't think it's great art. I get why they're using it. The style certainly fits the genre and what they're trying to portray. I just don't think this is executed at a very high level, just in my opinion. The lettering is pretty interesting. There's when he's narrating, you get these. It looks like they're like he's writing on a typewriter his reports or something, and then when he's in actual discussion, you see these kind of narration boxes, word bubbles, whatever you want to call them. So the art's fine. Like I said, this is a good comic. Like it's okay, just nothing really groundbreaking. Although there is an introductory scene with Lee Harvey Oswald after the assassination of President Kennedy, and it's much more muddier and murkier than this. Like I guess because it was it happened, predated the actual timeline that we're reading here. So there you go. And it also in there, kind of works into the narration that James Tynion uses for the comic book. There's a point, where Lee Harvey Oswald, he's being interviewed by these men in suits, and at the end, they're like, are you on board? And he's like, yes, up is down and down is up. Like, I can't believe what is real. I have to believe what I know not to be true to be true. That's the kind of vibe you get. There's just like some kind of weird ideas, and it's like I don't know what James Tynion is exactly going for. Like during the beginning interview, it's the main character. He's being interviewed by these two agents. They brought him in. He's scared for his life, and they want to know like how he ended up with them. Like obviously at the end, we find out exactly how he got there, and he's kind of going through it. And I guess he investigates conspiracy theories for the FBI, and he goes through this whole thing about why he thinks people buy into conspiracy theories. I'll tell you this: I'm not really a conspiracy theory buff, but people should have a very healthy mistrust of government. And I can tell you that I say that as someone that worked for the government for over 20 years, retired Air Force, and worked in the intelligence career for a vast majority of that while I was in there. You should definitely have a healthy mistrust. You shouldn't believe everything that you're told. You should be questioning things. So I don't know if he's trying to put down the conspiracy theory community. I'm not really a part of that, but I can see where they're coming from. There are some crazy conspiracy theories out there. They're absolutely hokey, but there are definitely some that are that are definitely more on the money than you would think, at least as far as I'm concerned. But so he's infiltrating. The way he came into this meeting is he's infiltrating a Flat Earth Society convention. He's an FBI agent. Like, why would the FBI be infiltrating a Flat Earth Society convention? Certainly, why would they be sending one of their top agents into this? Are we supposed to believe that Flat Earth Society is like a gateway drug, to militia groups or something like that? It seems like a silly place to be. Obviously, I think he chose it because it fits in with the narration. Is it because he thinks flat earthers are stupid or something? Obviously, I don't believe the Earth is flat. I'm quite certain that it's round. I see scientific evidence of it, but people can believe what they want to believe. If you believe the Earth is flat, good on you. I don't know if he's trying to make fun of flat earthers. He's certainly, he says that they're all white, they're all male, they all have a fake smile on their face. You can see they're kind of pasted on their face. They're all fake smiles, like they're not real people, and all this kind of weird stuff. So I feel like I know what he's getting at, but I can't confirm it. I have to hear from him personally. But I think he's kind of discredited, make fun of people here. I guess conspiracy theorists. But whatever, he's an FBI agent. He's infiltrating the flat earthers. Completely stupid concept and pretty hokey, if you ask me. But he's brought back the guys, the billionaires that are running this, the men that propagate these conspiracies are all billionaires, and they're playing people like pawns, and they're funding this. Nobody would believe about flat Earth if it wasn't for these billionaires funding the effort. And so they know that he's with the FBI, and they're like, "You're a true believer, right? We got something to show you." And they bring him into this back room, and they show him, and this is when he gets really freaked out. I guess they're watching this video of the moon landing. Obviously, we see the figure. He's coming down, but he's noticing it's from another angle. And while he's looking at Neil Armstrong behind him, there's a man with a coffee cup. Obviously, he must be the director of the movie, because the moon landing never happened. And he's drinking his coffee, and all the guys in the conspiracy theory are all screaming with joy. This is confirmation that there was no moon landing. The world is flat. And he says it, these billionaires say it's from their private Kubrick collection. It's been housed in the government for decades. And this really freaks out Cole. He's like, I don't know. It looked real to me, man. I don't know what to believe. Although I think it's kind of weird that they used a weird money effect on this thing that's supposed to look real. I don't know. I guess it's just, is it all in his mind? I guess is what we're supposed to think. And so they after that, they're like, we're going to show you what the government's been hiding. Get on our personal jet. And he's on there, and he's all freaked out. Obviously, he's in too deep with the flat earthers. Well, they couldn't come up with a better conspiracy theory to infiltrate, like Community. Didn't flat earthers, like those guys are dangerous. Whatever. So he's on this plane and everybody's weird, and every once in a while somebody has demon eyes and whatever, and then they finally sees the lady with the red dress and her eyes are X'd out, like you're not supposed to see what I see, or something like that, and she's implying, did you see? Because he did say what is believed to be the end of the earth. People, there's the end of the earth. The plane's flying up to it, and I guess it's in Antarctica or something. So they go down to land. And I'll just say this: I don't want to give away too many of the big spoilers. If you watch this review and you're like, oh, Wes said it's okay, I'm going to check it out. If you like conspiracy theories, if you think flat earthers are stupid, you'll probably like this comic book. If I'm being completely honest, you might want to check it out. So I don't want to give all the spoilers away. This is a spoiler review, but there are a couple of big reveals in here. But the people on this plane, they don't come back believing that the earth is flat, even though they're shown proof, and they land to go get their proof or whatever. And they bring him in, and that's how he comes into it. This agent is there. She brings him into a special meeting with the head of the Department of Truth, and he's explaining all this stuff, and he gives his backstory. I don't know. This reminds me of a movie with Matt Damon, where he's wearing a bowler hat, and when he's wearing a bowler hat, he can walk through certain doors. I think it's called The Adjustment Bureau, and I hated that movie too. Or I didn't hate it. I thought that movie was boring too. Like the story just didn't interest me. But this kind of reminds me of this. Like this group is out there, and they have to keep people from believing in conspiracy theories, because apparently if enough people believe in the power of that conspiracy theory, it becomes true, and you alter the earth. It's weird. Like James Tynion's using this exact same kind of premise, which isn't new. It goes all the way back to Peter Pan, and I'm certain before that if you believe in something, it makes it real. And if you stop believing, it kind of goes away and stops being real. And so they can't let this conspiracy theory about the earth being flat get too prominent. If there's enough people believe it, it will become real. Like I said, he's using it in something is killing the children, where these monsters are only powerful as long as children believe in them. And if enough children believe in them, they become more powerful and more dangerous, and they'll eat more children. And there's Scott Snyder's doing a lot of the same stuff with his DC comics. Like if you read his Last Night on Earth, there's a moment where Lex Luthor challenges Superman, and the world either has to believe in hope, or they have to believe in Lex Luthor and that everything sucks. And surprised everybody, Earth turned on Superman, and they stopped believing in hope, and that's how he was defeated. It basically led to the destruction of the Justice League, and that's how we got Batman back as the last night on Earth. He had to set everything right. And he did the same thing in Justice League itself, when he was doing like the end of Justice Doom War. The heroes are on the precipice of victory, but then people stop believing, or they stop believing, and they were sucked out of reality. I don't know. I know Tynion and Snyder are close. Tynion is essentially a protege of Scott Snyder, so they must be talking about this a lot. They also must be talking about national, white nationalists a lot. I'm seeing that in almost every comic book these days. That's obviously brought up here as well. Like the comic book writers must be talking about the world losing hope. I imagine that's because they voted for Donald Trump. If he wins again, I imagine we're going to be hearing about there is no hope for another 4 years in comic books, specifically DC with DC writers. But we're also hearing all about the white nationalists. Are they a threat? Probably. I imagine they are, but I don't think they should be in every single comic book. So I don't know. We're kind of seeing the same things over and over. There's another huge twist. The identity of the man that's doing the interview is revealed at the end, and it was interesting. I think if I had been caught up in the story, it would have been a great reveal. But because I was pretty bored and unimpressed with it, like I said, it's okay. It's cute, fine. Just not my cup of tea. I don't think it's a very good comic book. I think it's really average. So like the big reveal at the end did virtually nothing for me. So I don't know. Those are kind of my thoughts on the Department of Truth. I guess I am going against the grain here. Last week was an amazing comic week, and this week is not. I was expecting the Department of Truth to be amazing, Not really. You know, there's a few comics I expect to be really good. Everything's kind of been average. Even Three Jokers, which I do think is really good, was like a step down from issue 1. So it's been a disappointing comic week so far. I expected more. I certainly expected more out of James Tynion and James Tynion's Department of Truth. He's been killing it over there with Something is Killing Children. But I think I'm coming to terms with the fact that I think James Tynion is a really good horror writer and an average capes and apparently sci-fi writer. Not really my cup of tea. Obviously, he has a huge following. People are loving what he's doing, I imagine, and it sounds like people are loving this comic book. So I'm out on an island, people, but I'm willing here to tell you my thoughts and what I think about this. And you know, it's an average comic book. I do recommend it. I think a lot of people, if you like conspiracy theories, if you think flat earthers are stupid, this might be the comic book for you. But if you're like me and you expect a little bit more quality, and the art's not even, with the art style, it's not even really as good as what they're doing over in Philadelphia, which is also an Image comic. So that's my review, folks. Tell me I'm stupid. I imagine I'm going to be getting destroyed in the comment section.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.